Welcome to 20 Seasons Strong. To celebrate Mazda's 20 seasons as North Melbourne's major sponsor, we're taking a look at how the game has changed, but also stayed the same over the past 2 decades. Today we're talking to ex-North Premiership player and coach, Dean Laidley, and the current captain, Jack Siebel. Dean, Jack, thanks for your time. I want to take you back to 2008, Dean, when Jack was drafted to North Melbourne. Tell us how that all came about.
Saw this talented young bloke walk around that could play midfield and go and play forward with his height, and he had all the attributes to do that, and hard as nails. So that was some really key elements for me. I thought that's what we were looking for. There was a bit of toing and froing within the recruiting department and between the coach, being myself at that point in time. Super fan, really wanted him, but we had difference of point of views. I'm so lucky that Richmond took who they took, the pick before.
Jack, did you know much about Lades? I mean, he was a pretty intense character back then. Did you know what you were getting yourself into?
What I knew about Lades when I first got drafted was what I saw on TV. Pre-season, when I was first started, we had a Princess Park time trial, and Lades came up to the draftees and just said, you know, guys, I'm not sure how much work you've done, you know, in the off-season so far, so this time trial, we won't stress too much about what time you get, just, you know, go out and have a crack, see what you get. I think I ran one of the worst times ever recorded at North Melbourne. And Lades
Probably.
come up to me after when we got back to the club and was like, what the hell are you doing? You know, you're a first pick and you come and run this time. And I was just sitting there thinking, I've got a long way to go.
What about on the field? How much has it changed over the decades?
It's a lot more tactical and a lot more structured today. Whereas it was a bit more open-ended, you know, back then, and obviously a lot more goals being kicked.
I think just the level of professionalism required in the modern game is at its highest point so far, and I can only see it getting, you know, harder and harder to become, you know, elite AFL footballers. And the scrutiny you get with that obviously is high, and it has been high throughout the generations, but with social media these days and the pressures that come with being an AFL footballer, a lot of young guys don't understand what they're signing up for straight away, and that can be the undoing of a few guys.
The biggest thing from when I played, and say from when Jack started, is with these young boys when they first start, we actually take their life off them, pretty much, you know. What Jack said about the social media and everything and the welfare part of it, we actually just, we take it away from us. Whereas I came through and my generation came through, we still had all that.
There's new game plans evolving every day, and it's a pretty intense sort of environment inside a football club. This year, you know, 2018 footy season, we'll play football that no one's ever seen before. The way teams move the football, the way the teams defend. You know, think over the last 3 years, the premiership teams like Richmond last year changed the way forward line structures have been built over a number of years, and I think their key forwards are Jack Rewalt, and they've got 5 smalls and they've won a flag. So,
Dean, social media aside, would you have liked to play in this current day?
No. To be in a football club from 7 or 7:30 through to 4 days a week, preparing, playing, recovery. That'd drive me absolutely insane.
How do you reckon Jack would have gone in your era in the 90s?
He would have gone very well. And I'll use the analogy, because it's a North Melbourne analogy, of Sam Kekovich. Could go and play on ball and could go and play forward and tear a game open.
Back in the 90s, you know, you could just play footy the way you were taught and just be hard at it, tackle hard, attack the ball hard, go after the man when they've got the ball and all that sort of stuff. And these days, you've got to be careful with how you tackle guys. And sometimes, if the ball is in certain positions, you have to be careful about what you do. So I would have loved to have been able to run around the 90s and have some fun, especially in the Kanga side. The late 90s, win a few flags.
It was enjoyable.
Would have been good.
Dean, you've been at a lot of different clubs as a player and a coach. What makes North so special?
As much as a lot of things have changed over a period of time in football, one thing that hasn't changed from when I walked in late 92 to sort of leaving halfway through 2009 is their people and the strength. And you can say that about a lot of football clubs, but I just feel with my experiences over 30 years, starting at West Coast in 1987, and having been at 5 or 6 clubs over that such a long period of time, that stands for me head and shoulders above anything that I've seen.
Let's talk about some of the partnerships at North Melbourne. For example, the amazing one that the club has with Mazda.
Look, and you know what, Mazda have been unbelievable. They came in at a time where, you know, so saw some great times through 99, obviously being part of the grand final. And then, you know, the club went through a bit of an evolution in the early 2000s, and, you know, again, financially, there were some questions asked, but they stuck fat the whole time. And when that happens, like when you play, you know, with your teammates, you actually build trust. So we built a lot of trust between Mazda, the corporation, and the footy club.
I think Mazda's been outstanding for our football club, and I personally cannot remember a North Melbourne footy jumper. There's a few on the wall over there that hasn't got a Mazda symbol on it. So it is iconic that Mazda goes hand in hand with North Melbourne and has done for a long period of time. The type of company Mazda is, they're pretty loyal and stick by us as North Melbourne, and hopefully there's some good times just around the corner.